Hi! So this is the third video that I'm doing today about books. I did one about starting on book club, and then the other about my favorite books that you've probably never heard of. Well, so now I'm going to talk about my favorite books that you've probably heard of. And these aren't really in any order, and I'll probably go through them more quickly than the others because everybody kind of knows about these books. So the first one that I have is The Chosen by Chaim Potok. I'm not sure if I say that right, sorry. This is a wonderful book about two boys growing up in 1940s New York, both Jewish, one from a strict rabbi, one from a less strict rabbi, more modern. And it's so, to me this book is so good because every era in my life that I've read it, I've looked at it totally differently. When I was in high school, I read it, and I thought this one particular rabbi, this one father character was a total beast. And I even remember just thinking, like, he should be in jail, like, he's a total bad person. And then, like, when I read it in college, I kind of thought a little bit differently. And then when I've read it just recently, a couple of years ago, I had a lot of empathy for the father, actually. And so it's really, I love it. It's a really good book. Then the next one is Great Expectations, Charles Dickens. I like books that are a little bit weird, a little bit different sometimes. This book really surprised me. I read it. I read it in high school. I didn't read that much in high school, and I really loved it then, and I really like it now. It's so weird, but it's just fun, and I like the characters. And it's about a boy in Victorian England who gets a mysterious benefactor, and he's been told that he has basically great expectations for his life, and all of a sudden things are expected of him when nothing was before. And so you kind of trying to figure out who the benefactor is and how he's going to live up to those expectations. So the next one is To Kill a Mockingbird, and I love this book. I know everyone loves this book, but it's so beautiful. The story of Atticus Finch and Scout, and how one man teaches his children what it means to be a good person, even if the world is bad, and that is just so beautiful. So it's great. My favorite book of all time is North and South. Yes, I like the classics. I do. It's Elizabeth Gaskell, and it's so romantic. It's so... I've never wanted two characters to fall in love more. I've never liked two characters more. I read it about twice a year, and it never grows old. I think it is just so good. And it also talks a lot about sort of group mob rule, and how that can be kind of a good thing and that can be a bad thing. Also, like, it's sort of like Darcy as a self-made man, and so it talks a lot about ambition and what makes a person respectable and not respectable, and it is so good. Next one has been one of my favorites since I think I read it when I was 11 or 12, is Cheaper by the Dozen. It's written by Frank Gilbreth Jr. and Ernestine Gilbreth Carey, and those are the son and daughter of Frank and Lillian Gilbreth, and they were motion study experts in the 30s, and they would go into factories and they would try to make things better, reduce the number of motions and to make an item. And so they ended up having 12 kids, and they apply these motion study expert things to their family, kind of creating a factory. But it's really funny. It's really witty. I love it. I like I said, I liked it when I was 11, and I like it. I still like it now. So then I couldn't find my book of this, but it's somewhere. This is the movie version. This is Howard's End, and I love Howard's End. Howard's End is by it is the story of two women. It's by EM Forster. It was written in 1910, and it's about two women that are sisters that come in contact. They're from a very like academic social environment. They're from an academic class, and they meet people who are part of sort of the landed gentry, like sort of class, the aristocratic class of the early 1900s. And they have this house. They meet this family, the Wilcox family, and they have this house called Howard's End. And the characters end up kind of intermingling, and their different ideas of like what makes a good person and what makes a life good, and how you are obligated to help the community, and how you are also obligated not to help the community, and what is actually like I said, what makes a good person a good person. And I love it. I think the characters are perfect, and there are so many stories that are told within one book, or the movie is so good. You have side characters who in any other writing would be just incidental, but he makes the whole story arc just based on these characters, and it's so good. It's just so rich. You could read it. I could read it 15 times, and one time I would see it from one Schlegel sister's perspective, another time I would see it from the other, another time I would see it from the Wilcox's perspective and what they're trying to do. And it's just so good. I love it. And it's interesting because my sister, who we have a lot of book taste in common, she hates it. So, go figure that. And then the next one that I have is My Life in France. And this is Julia Child's memoir about how she learned to cook and how she got introduced to French cooking and French food. And I love it. It's about a woman who is willing to reinvent herself in her 30s, which is hard to do. And it's a wonderful portrayal of a marriage, and how her husband is willing to sacrifice anything, and he's willing to work a bureaucratic job so that she can follow her dreams. And it's such a good book. I love the food. It sounds so delicious, and I just think it's a great read. And then I have three more. The next one is called The Book Thief, and I know that this is super popular, but it deserves to be. It is so good. It's so different. It's so, it's narrated by death. It tells a story of some German people in Nazi Germany, which is unusual. It's told from the perspective of a little girl named Liesel, who is adopted into a family, and her and her papa, adopted papa, learn how to read together, and she ends up stealing different books. And it's so moving. I've read it, I think 7 times, and every time I'm just bawling. And it's like an earned cry. It's really, and it's so creative. The narration by death in the middle, they'll have little interruptions, and then like there's sections where it's like a book within a book, and that's really brilliant. Like here, it's like the book within a book. It's just so good. Read it. I think you'll love it. And then next one is Pride and Prejudice. I think that pretty much almost all romance, particularly romantic comedies, you can trace back to Pride and Prejudice and to Taming of the Shrew. And I know that's such a cliche for women to like Pride and Prejudice, but it's just so lovely, and it's so exciting, and you have such good characters, and it is so funny, and it's just a great book. I mean, need I say more about Pride and Prejudice? It's a good book, trust me. The last one I have is Cry, the Beloved Country by Alan Paton. And this has two of my favorite characters I've ever read in any book. You have two fathers in apartheid South Africa who are thrown together because of their sons. And there's a scene in this book that every time I read it, I just am bawling because it's so moving, and it's such a beautiful portrayal of two people and how the world is kind of out to put them against each other, but they are not going to do it. And it's so beautiful that the way the depiction, I've never been to South Africa, but the depictions of the hills and even the city with its grittiness is just beautiful. So it's one of my favorites. It's a great book. And then some others I couldn't find, but I want to mention, I love The Christmas Carol. That's one of my favorites. I read that every year. And I love The Hiding Place by Corrie Ten Boom. It's just a moving story about a woman who was sent to the concentration camps, but had to learn how to forgive, and it's a great book. So those are my favorite books you probably have heard of. So let me know what you think. Have you read any of these? Do you like them? Do you don't like them? And what are some of your favorites? So if you can put your comments down below, I'd love to hear it. I would love to respond. And please subscribe. I'll be doing more videos like this in coming weeks. So thanks. Bye.